Hi, it's Doug here from Lester Aldridge Residential Property Team, and welcome to another episode of Property Particulars Podcast. My very special guest today is Estella Newbold Brown. Estella, welcome to my podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Very nice to see you this morning on this bright Monday morning.
Yeah.
We both just discussed how we have had little sleep and we're a bit tired.
Yeah.
So we'll try.
But we look so fresh.
We'll look fresh. We're going to get through it okay. So welcome to Lester Aldridge.
Thank you.
So you are joining us as a partner in the family team 2 weeks today.
That I certainly am. Very excited.
Good. Well, we cannot wait to have you here. And I know you've been having some nice time off from last job to this job. Mm-hmm. How have you been filling your time?
Well, currently unemployed at the moment, which is very scary. I've really filled my days up, actually, and I've been like crazy busy. But I've been doing really fun things. So recording podcasts like this and another one. I'm visiting a friend on Wednesday who's an old work colleague who's recently had a baby. I'm going to Crufts. As a VIP guest.
Oh my goodness, we need to talk about this afterwards.
Which I'm super excited about. Wow. I've met up with people for lunch. I've been sorting out the garden room because we moved house over a year ago and we still have boxes. Okay. And I've been sorting through those. I've done a bit of decorating, bit of painting.
Have you had some downtime? Have you had some relaxing time, please?
I have watched, I've watched some films, some Netflix, been on holiday as well. So that was really nice. We went to Malta with the family, which was really lovely.
And so you're going to come in refreshed then, I hope, in 2 weeks' time?
I think I will.
Ready for the new challenge?
Yeah, I think it's nice to have a bit of a mental break from work. Mm-hmm. I haven't switched off entirely because I can't ever switch off. Yes. But from doing kind of the day-to-day work, it's quite nice to have a break from that and then come in with kind of a fresh perspective and all raring to go. I'm really looking forward to it.
Good. And I suppose when you do start a new job, like you do come in quite often and there isn't immediately clients and work to do because that's the whole point of moving to a new firm sometimes, isn't it? So even when you do get here, that'll be a nice introduction. We'll make sure, I mean, we've connected a while back, obviously, from when we knew you were joining us, but there's lots of people in the office here in London that probably haven't met you yet, that you need to meet. So that we'll get you introduced to everybody and settle you in nicely.
To meet.
There is. We are a growing office, which is lovely, and the family team and yourself being part of that as well. So let's go back a bit though. Let's go back to the start of your career. So why law? How did this happen for you?
So it's really boring. I've always
make up something nicer then.
Shall I just make up a story? I've always wanted to be a lawyer.
Okay.
My dad told me a story which I don't entirely believe. Apparently, I went up to him one day and said, "Who earns more money, doctors or lawyers?" And he kind of looked at me and was like, "A lawyer." But I don't actually believe him. But I've just always been interested in law, and I studied law A level. Okay. And I specifically went to a school because I wanted to study law. Mm-hmm. But I wouldn't say that the journey has been like the easiest. I went to university through clearing. Okay. I did really well my GCSEs, like A stars and A's, but my parents got divorced when I was doing my A levels, and I don't think my grades were as good as I could have achieved, and I wanted to go to King's. And they actually upped their intake in terms of the grades. They wanted kind of 3 A's or 2 A's and a B, and I got 2 B's and 1.5 D's, I think. So I went through clearing, but actually went to the university that I wanted to go to, which was Oxford Brookes. So I thought that was quite nice.
Yeah, amazing.
And then...
And did a pure law degree?
Pure law degree, and then came straight out, did the LPC. And then when I was studying the LPC, panicked because everyone had training contracts. I was like, I haven't sorted this out, what do I do? And I actually got a training contract where I did my work experience in year 10. So I had that sorted for when I completed my LPC. Then I qualified, and then after maybe 3-4 years of working, I was like, I need a break. So I took a year out and moved to Australia, which was incredible.
That is exciting.
Yeah, and worked on... Actually, I went to Australia with the hope of doing a conversion and working for a law firm over there. But the week before me moving, one of the partners in a 2 partnership just took off and set up around the corner. So when I went for the interview, he was just completely in disarray and was like, I can't offer you a job anymore. So I then worked on a cruise ship in Sydney Harbour.
Fabulous.
And then in a vineyard in Melbourne, which was lots of fun. And a recruitment consultant as well, which is a bit random, but
That's exciting.
Yeah.
I did something similar where I packed the law in after a while and took a year and a half off.
Oh, nice.
And then I went travelling, ended up in Sydney for 5 months of it, tried to get a job there in law and failed. So came back and moved to London.
Yeah. Oh,
all right,
similar.
so then you've come back from that trip, and then have you always worked in London?
So yeah, I mean, kind of Kent or London, because I found it quite hard to break into London. But I did work in a boutique family law firm in northwest London for a good 8 years of my time, because it will be 20 years this October. I'll have been qualified.
It's all right, I beat you. It's fine.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I'm 25.
Oh, amazing.
Is it?
You don't look it.
And what about family law then? So how did you do the normal where you did a training contract in a couple of different areas? Did you always like family law when you were studying? How did that come about?
So I did. I studied family law in my seat. It was one of my first seats. And I was there for quite some time. The partner just wouldn't let me go, and I was there for a good year.
Okay.
And I really enjoyed it, but after a while I was like, I've seen so many full me's, I need to do something new.
Yeah.
So I went into property and then debt collection, and then I was like, I want to go back to family now.
Right, okay.
So just really enjoyed it. I'm a people's person, and it's really interesting as well, because you learn a lot about people's lives, people share their stories with you, and also you help them. And that's the main focus of the job, is helping people through a really difficult time, and it's just something I really enjoy doing.
Yeah.
So I feel that I'm a good match for that area.
Yeah. And most people, when they think about the family law or the family team within a law firm, they immediately just think of divorce. But what is your broad spectrum of work that you do within family law? Because it isn't always just divorce.
No, it's not, and that's what people think. So there's so much in family law that you can cover. So there is divorce and the financial aspects of a divorce, but there's also unmarried couples. And sorting out the finances from that, and if they have children and they aren't married, then you have financial claims in respect of children. There is also prenups, there's post-nups, there are pet nups. Yes,
I heard about pet nups.
Yeah, I'm a big advocate of pet nups.
I saw this.
Yeah.
But so true. Pets are just as important for people.
They are.
As their children sometimes.
Well, for some people, they don't have children, and their pets become really, really important to them, and they treat them like their children.
Yeah.
And what pet nups do is they get you to have these conversations really early on about what should happen in the event that your relationship was to break down, but also how to raise your pet when you are together, what kind of food you're going to give your pet, what kind of, are you going to walk your pet, or if it's dog, once a day, twice a day, 3 times a day, you're going to get a pet walker, special types of food. If you're away on holiday, are you going to have someone to walk the dog? Are they going to stay with someone? It gets you to have lots of conversations.
Yeah, it's quite fascinating, really. It can be that in-depth.
Yeah.
But, people do love their pets.
They certainly do. And in addition to all of that, there's also kind of, surrogacy law. That's something that's really big at the moment and developing. Children matters, so if parties have separated, sorting out contact, or if someone's abducted a child, making arrangements in respect of having them returned. So the family law covers a lot.
Yeah. And is there any particular bit within that that's a particular for you, that you like doing something again and again, or do you like the whole broad spectrum?
I like all of it, and I tend to be the person, if someone's like, oh, this, something's come in and it's just crazy, and I'm like, yeah, I'll deal with it, please. Yeah, because I really like dealing with unmarried couples and the financial claims, but most family lawyers are quite scared of it because it's more of a civil procedure as opposed to the family law courts. It's quite technical, but I really enjoy it. But I enjoy all aspects. I really enjoy dealing with finances and looking at how you can rehouse people, how you can meet their needs, but also, you know, children arrangements and specifically relocation applications. I really enjoy dealing with those. So that's where one parent wants to relocate. Either outside of the jurisdiction or within, because it's so technical. There's a lot of detail that goes into the statements, and I really enjoyed like drafting those.
Yeah. And have you seen a change throughout your career then? Because I suppose the bit you talked about there about unmarried couples, I've certainly seen that from a property side change so much over the 20 odd years that I've done it, where, you know, you would maybe always, when I first started, have a married couple buying a property. But there are so many unmarried couples buying a property. So have you seen that trend change over the time?
Yeah, absolutely, I have. Yeah, I deal with, I wouldn't say it's 50-50, but it's probably maybe like 60-40, 40% being unmarried couples, because I think people are just choosing not to get married because they think it's easier and simpler. In some ways it is, but also not.
No, exactly.
Because if you're married, you know what the law is if you were to get divorced, and it's, you know, a set of criteria and it's quite easy to follow. And in unmarried couples, it, you know, intention comes into it, conversations that you've had between you, but also when you purchase a property, I don't think couples always understand what joint tenant means and tenants in common. And if someone's paid more on the deposits, you know, they need to really be advised how to best protect their position.
Yeah, well, you come straight into a great segue there. In the, obviously, when I'm doing
like
when I'm doing property transactions, and I do have lots of unmarried couples buying or uneven amounts of money, etc. It's great in our private wealth group that we have here at Lester Aldridge, because I can refer work to our tax trust and wills team. I can refer stuff over to family team, because we do work collaboratively with those particular clients. So you must see that you do sometimes get quite a lot of, and sometimes it might be initial conversations. It wouldn't necessarily be a job straight away, but that's the good thing about having a group that deals with all these different aspects here.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why I like working in firms that are multidiscipline, because you get to refer work over, and also clients get the benefit of having just a chat with someone just to see their options. And, you know, in cases where couples are buying a property together, having a living together agreement or cohabitation agreement is really what they should be looking at, because, you know, same with the pet. You know, you buy a house, but you need to know what's going to happen in the future if you were to separate, and what share you would get. And it gets people to have those conversations early on, whereas, you know, 5 years, 10 years down the line, it's a bit too late.
Yeah. And so do you see more of that initial amicable discussion between couples, or is the bit sometimes where it's not amicable afterwards? What's the juiciest bit?
It tends to be the less amicable, unfortunately, and then it becomes the disputes, because I guess if it's amicable, they won't see a family lawyer. They'll just tell the conveyancing solicitor, this is how we're going to divide the money between them. And if people have children, because often they buy property and they don't have children at the time, but they have children later, and that kind of changes the landscape of your finances. And if someone's going to be the main carer, if there isn't shared care, then their needs become slightly higher than the other person's, because they have to house their children. So it's those kind of difficult times that people really need advice.
Yeah. Okay. And so let's talk a bit about the connection with, we've touched on it there, the connection with property, because it is a property particulars podcast, of course. And so sometimes the referrals come the other way across from family back to property. So what kind of examples does that, it crops up when it's that way around?
So usually if there's a married couple and they have the family home, unless there's a portfolio of properties, usually the family home sold. Or if there are many properties, they can be transferred, and that's when we tend to refer our clients to the property team, because then you can deal with the transfers of properties, you can deal with the sales, or if there isn't an agreement at all about how the proceeds are to be divided, then you can hold on to the money pending a financial agreement being reached between them.
Yeah, sometimes when you get when I get a referral from our family team, it's quite nice when I've seen the order, because we don't really get to see that as much on our side of it. it feels like a bit like proper law as well, compared to sometimes what we're doing. But it is quite fun as well when I sometimes get asked to speak with a client that's come from the family team, and I look at the order and I can see that there's like a list of properties that have to be dealt with.
And they're all defined at the beginning. Yeah.
But that takes a long time to get to that stage.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it depends how you reach your agreement. You can either, go to mediation, or you can sit around the kitchen table with your partner to reach an agreement. But getting an order through, even if everything is amicable, really takes some time still, because you've got to issue divorce proceedings, and that takes kind of 6 to 9 months, more than 9 months, and there's a backlog in the court system. But parallel with that, you sort out the finances, but you need to reach a certain stage of the divorce before you can send the order in for a judge to approve. So on average, like 1 to 2 years, but then sometimes you might need to issue court proceedings, which is best to avoid. But sometimes it's inevitable if you can't reach an agreement.
Yeah. And so, I mean, that's a long period of time when you'll then be in that person's life as our client. And do you like that aspect of it?
I really, really do. Yeah, I do.
So you feel that sometimes you become, like we sometimes say it in property, but our time period is quite often a lot less, maybe 3 to 4 months buying a house for somebody or selling, and we're their best friend during that time, sometimes a bit of a counsellor, and we speak to them quite a lot, but then our transaction ends. But this is a much longer period that you must get to know your clients.
Yeah, you if you're acting for someone, but prenups is probably the quickest transaction to deal with, because usually there's like a time frame that you have to draft the prenup, get it all agreed, and get it signed up, and that could be within. I've done a prenup in a matter of like a month before, but usually it'd be a couple of months if it's quite complex. But otherwise, it's some years. But it's really nice because, as I say, like I'm a people's person, and you get to know your clients really well, and they're also trusting you, giving revealing information about their family and trusting you with that information. So it's nice to be in that position that someone trusts you so much.
Yeah, I mean, it's a major thing for that client and what they're going through as part of their life, isn't it? So so I can tell that you obviously like that aspect of it. But then sometimes, on a prenup or helping a cohabitation agreement or something like that, where it's a amicable stage, would you act for couples together, or is it always separately?
So at the moment separately, but there is like a one lawyer that's quite a new thing, where you can act for two people in the same kind of like transaction. So a married couple, but I'm not yet qualified in that, but that's something that I'd like to look into.
Okay, cool. Another string to your bow.
And I'd also like to be a mediator as well. I'd love to be a mediator.
And so is that further training for that?
Yeah, it is, Oh,
wow. I mean, there's no stopping what you can do once you get to LA. Okay, so let's switch a bit and talk about, because we are a property podcast, so personal property, which I like to talk to all our guests about. Like, have you bought and sold property yourself? Have you been the client? And how was that?
I don't know how I'd be rated as a client. So I've had 4 transactions in my lifetime. And I'd say it's 50-50 in terms of how they went. 2 of them were so quick. And I remember my friend saying, just don't worry about it being quick. I was like, no, but I'm not actually ready to move yet. And it was so fast. It was like 2 to 3 months, I think, which I think is quite good.
Yeah, that's good.
And then the last 2 are houses that I bought with my wife. And I think that she might be the cause of the problem.
Okay.
No, I'm kidding. But they've just dragged on. And one was about 8 months or so.
That's long,
Yeah, and it's a really long chain. And then someone right at the bottom was a new buyer, and they didn't have a mortgage offer in place. And it was. And both transactions, I actually said I can't deal with this anymore. And I said to my wife, you need to deal with it now. I actually can't. So
because it is a stressful thing.
I think I'm not a control freak or anything, but I think because I know about property and I know what's involved, I knew what was happening, but no one really was giving me the information. And there's up the chain, I knew stuff was happening, but not quite what was happening. And I just found it quite frustrating.
Yeah, sometimes we do think that lawyers are not always the best client.
No, I imagine I was awful.
I'm sure you weren't awful, but it is a stressful thing. And so I know that when one of your transactions was recently last year, did you say?
A year ago, yeah.
Okay, so you're all settled in now and
apart from
not
boxes.
thinking of another move yet?
Oh, I know, that's the thing. So when we bought our first house together, I was like, I am never moving again. And I think maybe it's like childbirth. Like once you've given birth, you're like, I'm never having another child. And then a few years later, you forget all about it.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what happened. And but I think we found a forever home. I don't really want to move. Because I've got the house, it is exactly what we need. Right. I've got it to how we like it.
Yeah.
We just need to paint it a bit and sort out some leaks. But apart from that,
just a few little things.
Yeah, well, it just needs to stop raining, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, exactly. We're getting into spring eventually. And how was the relationship with the property solicitor for you? Did you feel the benefit of having a really good solicitor that would update you?
I actually had one of a really, really good lawyer. I used my firm that I was at, and it was one of the partners, and she was amazing. Yeah. I cannot fault her. She was really, really good. So I benefited from having a lovely person dealing with it who just did everything that they could. But there's only so much they can do if you're waiting for the rest of the chain.
If you're waiting for a chain, it's a bit, that is difficult. But updating always and keeping informed, etc. Yeah. Okay, cool. Let's switch up again and let's talk social media. So I love a bit of social media, hence the podcast, hence I run our property Instagram page, and I quite like LinkedIn as well. But how have you seen social media for you change during your career?
I have noticed a change over the last 5 years, I'd say, and I've really been focusing on my social media presence because I think, and I know that social media isn't for everyone, so there's no right or wrong answer to this because I totally respect people don't like it, but I actually really enjoy it. And I'd say that really you should only do it if you enjoy it because then it's not a job, it's just something you're doing. And I actually have many Instagram accounts. The other day, my friend was like, how many do you have? I can't keep up because I've got one for my camper van, I've got a personal one, I've got a private one for my children that just me and just some close family and friends follow. And we're getting a kitten, and I've already set one up with the kitten. But for work, I love LinkedIn. I'm a LinkedIn influencer, which is quite a nice thing to be. Well, and I'm going to a dinner tonight, actually. Okay. For all the people that were ranked in Q4. Okay. And I've noticed LinkedIn has become more popular. I've had clients being referred to me because of it. I've grown my network because of it. I've got a working group, Pets on Divorce and Separation, and we post lots on there. I have lots of support from people from it. I also found an illustrator for a children's book. I've written 3 children's books, and I found her on LinkedIn because she's in Cuba. And how would I have found her otherwise? So actually, I find social media brilliant. And also, it's a really nice place to support others and support other people from other firms. You don't just have to support people within your own firm.
No, exactly.
Yeah, I'm a big believer of helping other people. I've had people message me and saying, early on in my career, I'm coming to London in spring. Can we meet? And I'm like, absolutely, I'll mentor you through whatever you need help with. I just think it's really nice to build connections with people because we're all just trying to get through, doing our job, live our lives.
Daily life, yeah. And so have you, because when we talk marketing and business development within our group, which you'll obviously come to all of our meetings now as well, when we talk about it from a private wealth focus, obviously for us in property, not that it's easier, but it's a bit more tangible. Like I know that I need to go and speak to agents and brokers who are at the start of the transaction for people buying and selling property. But would you say that family law is a difficult thing to business develop? And has then the LinkedIn helped?
Yeah, so it is, because you can't really have a conversation with someone at dinner or drinks and say, I'm a divorce lawyer, and they say, okay, I will get divorced tomorrow just so I can instruct you. Yeah. It doesn't happen like that. And what you need to do as a family lawyer is just make sure that people know who you are, and they then approach you when the time is right for them. And that's what happens. And also word of mouth, because I get a lot of referrals, and then people are happy with the service they've been provided. And then when they know someone, they say, "Oh, my lawyer was great," and then give details on. So in family law, it's quite hard to market yourself. But I don't really. I'd say the way that I market myself isn't like that. I just like to connect with people, and I just like to chat with people. And become friends, and that's kind of how I deal with it. Whether that's the right or wrong way.
No, I think
that's how I do it.
It's a great way to do it, just to have your own profile out there and just enjoy what you're doing, and then people will get to know who you are, and referrals will come from that. And do you have like a network of other family lawyers that you know well, in the jurisdiction in London, so to speak?
Yeah, I do. So I've got a podcast, Family Law Friends.
Yes, I heard that you have a podcast as well.
Haven't actually
we might have to have words about this.
And that's with Sadie Glover, and she's at another law firm. She's a partner and head of family there, and so we've got a really good friendship, and that's through just working together, and from being in the family law community. And there's other barristers, there's like conferences that I go to. There's loads of people that I know, and I'm always going out for dinner. I say, like tonight I'm out for dinner with like 15 of us, I think.
Oh my goodness, on a Monday night as
well. Yeah, I know.
That's good.
Hardcore.
Yeah, that is hardcore. And how did the podcast then come about? Did you know Sadie first for a number of years? You just talked about it together?
Yes, I've known her for a while. We're actually writing a book together, which is very exciting. But I have wanted to either host a podcast with someone else or do my own one, but I just haven't got around to it.
Yeah.
And I've been on quite a few podcasts of other people's podcasts. So it's something that I've really wanted to do. And she asked me last year, and I was like, absolutely. Okay. So, and it's just worked out really well.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
And so, telling me a bit about what happens on that podcast. I mean, well, let's shout out for this podcast. Tell me about what you talk about on there, and do you have guests, or is it just the two of you chatting?
So it's a mixture, actually. We do mini episodes where it's just us kind of chatting and catching up, and then we'll introduce the next guest, and then we have a podcast with them, and we've had one person on, two people on, but they're all family lawyers. Okay. And the idea is that we don't come on to talk about law, we come on to talk about being a lawyer, being a family lawyer, what it's like, how to support others. And it's really nice. It's just conversation, and it's really, really nice, and I really enjoy doing it.
Yeah, and you've just given me an idea, actually, because on my podcast, we've started to have some external agents come in. I'm recording another one this afternoon with an agent, but I've not had another residential property lawyer from another firm.
I think you should.
I think that would be a good thing to do.
Yeah.
Because, there's healthy competition, and we always like to work, for us on property side, if we get a lawyer on the other side that we know well, sometimes it's like, oh, great.
Yeah, like this will go well.
This will go well. I know that I can pick up the phone to them to discuss if a difficult point arises. Does that happen for you as well? Yeah,
it does. Like, when I get the first letter, or if a client comes in and they produce a letter and they say, oh, I've received this, and I see who's written it, I'm like, oh, this is great. But also, I'm a member of Resolution, and if family lawyers are a member of Resolution as well, you just know that they're going to be, hopefully, non-confrontational and have their clients' main focus of what they're wanting to achieve at the heart of what they're doing. So it's really nice, actually, when you see people that on letterheads or good firms. You just that it'll go slightly easier than if you're getting a letter from a really aggressive lawyer.
Okay. Yeah. And how many podcast episodes have you done? Let's see. Come on, let's go down to facts here.
Well, I think you're going to beat me. I don't think we're in double figures yet.
Okay, there we go.
We're fresh.
Yeah, you're fresh. Okay, that's fine. There's room for everybody in the podcast legal world. But I do like the aspect that you're talking about where it's not specifically law that you're talking on it, which I think we try to do a bit here. We're just talking about, lots of topics, trying to bring it back to property all the time. But like a heavy legal podcast is a hard thing.
I know it is.
It's a hard listen, isn't it?
Yeah, if you're going out for a jog, or you're in the gym, and then I did that once, actually. I did enjoy it. It's about conduct. Okay. And I was listening to like 3 lawyers, like 2 judges and a very senior barrister. Oh, wow. But I was like, I'm not sure I can multitask with my brain concentrating on what they're saying and trying to like run on a treadmill at the same time.
Okay, yeah. Well, that's it. Well, I will definitely give your podcast a listen as well, and we'll give it a shout out when we do some posts for this one. So tell me, what are you looking forward to about 2 weeks' time coming to join us at LA?
I am really excited. I mean, beautiful offices, absolutely stunning offices, but everyone is so nice. I feel that I've already joined, and I have actually been here quite a long time.
Yeah, you have.
I know you're probably like, go away.
You've not started yet. Come on. She's back again.
And just everyone's so lovely, and I'm really looking forward to coming in, meeting more people, and just getting really settled, building up my client base.
Yeah.
I really want to host events. I want to have like seminars, whether it's a breakfast seminar or an evening seminar, and having other lawyers come and join. I've already got loads of barristers lined up to do some talks.
That's
I've got
exciting.
a working group meeting I've already booked the boardroom for.
Oh my goodness, you're on it.
Yeah, I'm really, really excited.
Okay, well, we are very excited to have you join us. It's going to be a breath of fresh air to have, whenever new people join us, it's so lovely. But to grow the London office is one of John and mine's passions, and it's just lovely. And you saw the new office. We've moved the family team to a different office just recently because it's growing, and there's going to be, by the time you arrive, there'll be 4 of you.
Yeah, exciting.
So but there's space to grow in that office as well.
Absolutely.
So we cannot wait for you to join us.
Thank you.
So to finish up on our podcast, sometimes I ask a few little quick-fire, non-property, non-legal questions. So what about where would be the best place you'd go in London for a nice cocktail?
Oh, do you know, I've actually not been having cocktails as much. English sparkling wine.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I've been really enjoying.
Lovely.
But I have had some very good cocktails at the Ivy.
Always good.
Yeah.
The original Ivy.
Oh, I have been to the original Ivy, but I remember when we went there, my friend said, "Oh, we'll have a bottle of sparkling water," and I was like, £8 for a bottle of sparkling water. What have you done?
Yeah, that's a bit expensive.
But the original Ivy is lovely. But also
nice.
the chain I quite like.
Yeah, they are
by
nice.
Tower Bridge, that's really, really lovely and beautiful views.
Cool. And what about when you on a weekend, a day off, you don't have any DIY housework or work to do? What do you do? What's a good day out for you and the family?
With or without? I can say with or without the children.
Both. Let's do children first, with children, and then on your own.
To be honest, taking them somewhere so they can like run around and let off some steam.
Get all the energy out.
Just
and
like
back home.
A soft
sleep.
play and just like blank it out from your mind for like 2 hours, and then go in for like a nice lunch.
Yes.
And then coming home, and then we borrow a dog as well, and we take. It's called Simba. My daughter and I walked Simba yesterday, but going for a nice dog walk, because where we live is really, really lovely, and there's lots of parks, so I love going for like walks around. And then in our house we've got like this little snug, and I've got a projector, and we've got some blackout curtains, so we've got like a little cinema room, so like sitting down and watching like a really like fun film together. I mean, we have to watch, like Disney films and stuff, but there's some actually really good ones.
But like
which I really enjoy.
The old ones, the original ones.
Oh, I like. I do like the originals.
Back from our childhood, I like all those ones. Well, I'm with you on the dog walk because I borrow a doggy as well. So I'll do a little shout out for MJ the doggy. I walked him yesterday. That is so lovely, isn't it, to have a dog? Would you ever get one yourself for the family?
Well, we're getting a kitten.
So okay.
Yeah. So, and I've rescued cats most of my life, and like rescued. I haven't like run out there and like scooped them up, but I've rehomed them. But we decided this time to get a kitten, and it's a British short haired. And I'm like so in love, and the kids are already in love. And,
and when does the kitten arrive?
Around my birthday, actually.
Cool.
End of March, beginning of April.
And are you collectively choosing the name? Does it
We've already named, Zara.
Oh, cute.
Yeah.
Okay, well, enjoy when the kitten arrives. You'll be at work before then with us.
Yes.
So thank you so much for joining us on the podcast, and I cannot wait for you to join Lester Aldridge in 2 weeks' time.
Me too.
Join us again for another episode of Property Particulars podcast coming very soon.